I have a big revelation here today, guys, which is I think I'm finally ready for a Hallmark movie. I just want to be in one. I like them.
Oh, to act in one?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, first of all, I consume Hallmark movies. I think they're the greatest pieces of content and
dear.
media
Me
of
too.
our generation. But you know what I've heard? Because someone I know was in one and I had a million questions. Because to me, it's so mysterious, like this universe of like fake movies. And they're not, particularly high budget. But I was like, what was the experience like? And this is a person who has worked on a lot of like TV shows and stuff. And they were like, it is hands down the best gig in the industry. You are treated so well. From the trailers, craft services, it's like really premium for the actors. It's a very respectful set. It's very high budget in terms of like actors first. I think you get paid really well. And I've heard fabulous things about the actual working experience on that show.
I agree. I'm open. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. They had initially contacted me during a time when I was about to go do Oppenheimer, and I was just in that Oppenheimer place. Your boy's a method actor. You get it. But right now, I am ready to be light, happy, and free. Hallmark.
Let me ask you a question. Obviously, Oppenheimer is like the best thing, like the biggest, most major thing that anyone's ever done. And do you feel like now every time you make a decision in your career, you're like, well, how does that go with Oppenheimer? Because like Hallmark doesn't go with Oppenheimer.
Granted, it's not the biggest part. So it's not a total
Who cares?
defining.
It was, by the way, it wasn't not important. You literally pushed a button.
You did. It was big.
We were screaming when we watched it. Yes, we were like a year too late watching it. We finally saw it like a couple of months ago. We were screaming. Like it was, you definitely underplay it so that when we sat down to watch it, we were like, oh, he's an extra, the way you describe it.
Sure.
No, you had lines, you pressed a button, you had the climax of the movie is like your big moment.
Was this me?
We were screaming.
I don't know if Christopher Nolan really is that brilliant that he constructed it as the ultimate millennial jump scare with me walking through those doors. Because I'm sure half the people were like, what's Josh Peck doing here? But you know what?
Do you think that Christopher Nolan understands your cultural impact on a certain generation?
Here's the thing. I think
Or did he just choose you because he thought you were a great actor and a handsome guy?
God bless you. I think he's film first, always. What serves the film first? But I think he has a brilliant business mind, as you have to when you're operating at that level. And he has kids that are in their late teens, early 20s. So obviously my demo. And he knew like my boy Devin Bostic, who was in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He like talked about it on an interview and he's in it too. So I just don't think there's a world in which Drake and Josh wasn't somewhere in the background of Christopher Nolan's house. Wow.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you crushed it. We loved every minute of it. But I imagine it, it's a blessing, but also a curse because you have this sort of desire to do a Hallmark movie. But how can you kind of reconcile doing a Hallmark movie and Oppenheimer in the same decade?
I just don't think you can put Josh Peck in a box. And I think that's the title of the episode.
Agree.
And
okay, let me ask you another question, because on The Toast, we are always coming up with plots for different Hallmark movies. They all follow the same formula, small town, big city girl comes back for a weekend. She doesn't want to, she doesn't want to come, but then she ends up moving there and falling in love with like the ranch farmer. Okay.
Right.
But tell me a little bit about how you see yourself playing into this formula, because you are Jewish and they do have like once a year, like a Jewish one. It's horrible. Like I would never want to be cast in that one. Nobody watches it.
No, it's fun. The Hanukkah one that they came out with last year, it was about a latke competition.
Yep. And by the way,
so good.
I love her, but Mayim Bialik did one on the Lifetime network. So it was like not Hallmark, it was Lifetime. And then it wasn't Christmas, it was Hanukkah. When I was on tour, I couldn't find a channel to watch anything. The only thing on was this like turnt Mayim Bialik Lifetime Hanukkah movie. It was so horrible. It actually changed my opinion of her. Like that's how powerfully bad the movie was. So you do have to be careful.
Agreed. I mean, I'm down to go full Christmas and like abandon my Judaism and just because I think we're the same, Claudia. Like I'm Christmas obsessed.
Oh my God. It's such a push and pull, like a tug within me every year not to get a Christmas tree. And every time I think I get close, like something significant happens in the culture. Like last year, if I was thinking about it, after October 7th, I was like not even fucking around with the idea. I was like so Jewish at that time. Every couple of years I get dangerously close. Jackie's always the one who reels me in. She's like, listen, it's not ours. And so much of Christmas has become like not so much religious, but more so cultural. Like in America, I feel like, so much of the Christmassy shtick isn't really even about like Christ or the Bible. It's just about like vibes, lights, things of that nature. And like, I guess he could have a tree. And, you know, some people, you know, they get a white tree. It's a Hanukkah bush. But like at the end of the day, it's like another religion's thing. Like, I'm not about that life.
You've stopped doing it, but from the day that we met, Josh, I don't know if you know this, Claudia and her family used to go to the Christmas Spectacular every single year at Radio City. I would go as well. And I think that we, by the end, like saw the significance of the Jesus.
Let me tell you. So every year at Radio City, it's the Radio City Rockettes. They do like a Christmas Spectacular starting in, I think, like October. There's like a show every day. It's fabulous. It's like New York at Christmas. What a sight. Like it's very glitz, glam, New York at Christmas. It's not religious at all. It just talks about like snow and lights and Santa, and the Rockettes are dancing in these fabulous outfits. They do that toy. There's like a little Nutcracker skit. They do the toy soldier. It's like iconic, and I've been going my whole life. There's one scene in the musical that's the nativity scene, because it is technically a play about,
of course,
Christmas.
Classic.
And when we were kids, that was our cue to leave. It's at the very end, so we would leave right before that. I had never seen it. And we still, like, into our adulthood, when I have pictures from like literally me in high school, me in college, like we always went. It's the best, most fabulous show. I can't recommend it enough for people of all religions and denominations. It's really fabulous. But I watched the nativity scene for the first time as like an adult, when I didn't like have to run out of the theater. And it was definitely religious. Like it was really powerful stuff. And I understood why we ran when we did. But, you know, yeah.
What you can do, look, the truth is the Last Supper was a Seder. And the nativity scene is a bunch of Jews kicking it. So you just kind of have to put that gloss over it. But dare I say, kids, I think we have just come up with my Hallmark movie, because my friend always makes the point to say, listen, Christmas wins, full stop, always. But us Jews, with our Hanukkah, with our Christmas traditions, we kind of kill it too. Why? What could be better than a roast with, what do they do? Prime rib and stuffing and all these things. It's basically a Thanksgiving do-over on Christmas Eve. You know what's
it's better? Ham, I think.
You know what's better than that, kids? Chinese food. Far and away.
1,000%.
So much better.
It is.
You know what's better than one day of gifts? 8. So maybe 100%. It's about two people, they're falling in love. They come from different backgrounds. A beat around Jewish kid from the Upper West Side.
An interfaith Hallmark movie.
That's what I'm talking about. And they blend their holidays into a Christmaka.
Christmaka.
I love that. You know, that.
And now we're back to the OC.
That reminds me of my all-time favorite joke is, how do you know that Jesus was Jewish?
How?
Because his mother thought he was a god. It's so good.
It is.
Yeah, we're the good guys. We're not the great guys. We're just the good